Pam, you were muted. Yes, muted. There we go.
I am unmuted.
You are unmuted.
I know, I think it's better that way, but whatever. Okay. So hair, fashion, facial, and wigs. So of course, hair has always has a specific connotation with what style is going on that is contemporary to the clothing. Hair and clothing go together. And when you see somebody that has old fashioned hairstyle and contemporary clothing, it is sort of a surprise to us, right? Hair is a huge part of completing a makeup. Just imagine when you are with your wig cap on, and then when you take the wig cap off and you finally reveal, here is the completed makeup. We are interested in completing a complete portrait. We want to create a complete portrait from above the head to the chest. The hair of the character must be considered and executed with the same care and attention to detail as the paint applied to the face. When you neglect the hair, it's as if some point is unfinished. So, what hair are we talking about? The hair on the head or the lack of the hair on the head? This can happen with both men and women. And fortunately, we have things called hair extensions, which are a really good way to help people who have thin hair have their hair look very full and beautiful. And it's a way, I remember when they first started doing this, and I was working on a TV show and we had an actress that had very, very fine hair. And they said, oh, it's secret hair. And they'd pull her hair back and they'd clip in hair and then it would come back and she'd have nice full hair. But before that, that was 90, I think 93. And it was a really, hair extensions were used, but they weren't common. They weren't in the common vernacular, so that now you can go to Sally's and buy them. It's very easy to buy them. You can buy them online. You can buy all weights online, all colors. You can buy human hair, very reasonable. So, it's really important. And a lot of times the character wants to just look good. And that may mean changing the actor's appearance to suit the character. So, facial hair. Does the character require it? In this day, we have to ask, does the actor have to shave? Now, that's a fairly recent occurrence. We are in a very hirsute period right now where men are growing a lot of facial hair. That has not been common for the most of the 20th century, in the 21st century as well. So, facial hair kind of lost its pizzazz right around the turn of the century of the 1900s. And then by the 1920s, absolutely gone. By the teens, it was really going away, except for the most extreme academic or eccentric artist type. And then really men were clean shaven for about 100 years. There was the occasional fashion of beatnik or maybe hippies, or sometimes there was a rather scraggly beard, but typically clean shaven was the best look. So now we're in a rather hairy period, and it's always a big deal when you ask somebody to cut their hair or shave. It's as if they're cutting a part of them off, and certainly a part of their identity. So, does the character require it? Very, very tricky and very important that you have the director on your side when you're talking about it. Can the actor grow the appropriate hair for the character? Whether that is facial hair, a mustache, or a beard, or do you need to make sure that you can have a hairpiece, a beard or mustache hairpiece that will be adaptable to that? Does the character need an elaborate hairstyle? Many times, the first thing an actor does when they go into a movie is they get haircuts. If they're doing a World War II movie, everybody comes in, all of the atmosphere men come in and get their military haircuts. And it's expected that you're hired for a movie, you're getting paid a certain amount per day, your hair will comply with whatever the needs of the production are. Now, the bigger star you are, the more you can have some say in that. For women, it's a little more forgiving. So a wig may be an easier solution than styling the actor's hair for the character. For particularly on stage, if an actor is coming from a job or from school or from something, or they're doing 8 performances a week, their own hair may be too fragile to handle that kind of styling repeatedly. So in that way, a wig may be an easier solution. How can a wig look natural? A purchased wig, synthetic wig, may have too much hair. It needs to be thinned and it needs to be styled. Human hair wigs are expensive, but they are long lasting. They're easy to style because you can curl them just like normal hair. And they can go on rollers, they can have hairspray, they can have hair gel, and they can be combed, color can be changed. It can be very easily. But to make any wig look good, you have to ventilate the hairpiece or have which would be for a mustache or a beard, or you have to have a lace fronted wig. So let me show you a couple of examples of that. And then we'll go into the ventilating equipment. So this is a ventilated mustache. Sorry, it looked like I had all my stuff together, but I didn't. So we have a wide variety of hair pieces here. And we have actually a fairly good collection. So this is a beard. And you can see that it's rather sparse. Actually, every single hair has been knotted in place on this rather invisible net. This is a fairly durable net. This is called hair lace. And you can see that if it is shaped, the beard is shaped through this device called darts, which is the technique of pinching this fabric to create a rolled appearance. And this can go on to the chin and wrap up on the chin. And you can see even up close, this would be glued on, so it would work with the face, but it has a rather natural appearance. And now I'll zoom in so that you can see how transparent that lace is. Even from here, not looking bad, and then you can actually see it when I get closer. You can see these little dots, they're actually moiraying. Okay, but it's a rather effective way to give somebody, a full, beautiful beard, should they be playing a character that is possibly a different age, or if the character simply requires it. The same is true for a mustache. And even we have, mustache wig sets, and these ventilated mustaches, again, you're looking at the back, you can see the hair lace, which is a series of holes. And you see the back of the hair sticking through, like not every hole has a hair. It's fairly sparse. But then the front gives you a nice sense of hair. Plus, if you look at the side, you can see that the hair is somewhat kinky, which is much more what face hair looks like than head hair. So this would be then a mustache. Now this looks absurd on me because I'm not dark. I don't have dark hair. But even up close, if this is glued on, you can see that it looks very realistic. So this is the same technique that is used. This is a handmade human hair mustache. And it can be styled. You can see that the corner here has been styled in an up position. Right there. So somewhat of we would call that a handlebar. And it is labeled and it comes in its own little box. And this one mustache is about $30 to purchase. And that I think is actually rather reasonable. When we start talking about ventilating, you'll be able to see how time consuming it actually is. And then you can also put that hair lace here on the front of a wig so that you can get an actual wig shape. And in order to get the appropriate wig shape, you can take a saran wrap and create a cap there where you can draw the wig on. Let me show you what I mean. So in preparation for creating a wig and a ventilated front on a wig, first I would put the actor into a wig cap. And we're very familiar with that for our class. We use that technique often because it helps get the hair completely out of the way. And then you want to make sure that all of the hair is tucked inside. And that the hair line is exposed. And then you pull the wig cap back so that you're really on the hairline. You pull the wig cap back and secure it so that it is flat. Okay. And then I can put wraps. Oh, this is slipping off my hair. My hair is so slippery today. I'm going to have to put it a little lower than I would like to. So let's just bear with me. You would take time to either do pin curls or do a wrap on it. So you can simply use saran wrap. And you can see that the inside of this is saran wrap. I'm going to put on a wig cap that belonged to someone else, Christina. And this is a wig. I'm not putting that one on. That was a very small one. This is a pattern to create that ventilated front. So now you can see it's really just the saran wrap that's been wrapped around the head and secured with clear tape, clear Scotch tape. You'll note that there are two markings, one for center back and one for center front. So I'm going to put it on. So this character's hairline was drawn center front. This is how low his hairline was. So this is where the ventilating at least an inch needed to be to make a accurate wig so that it looked very natural for that character. But using these very simple materials of plastic wrap and then tape, and then using a Sharpie to outline the hair. So you can see mine would be outlined clear up here because I have a rather high forehead. So it's an easy shape to make. Then when the wig goes on, you're seeing the wig lace and the little piece of hair laced in there so that you get this transitional period from the forehead to the actual hair itself. Let me show you a ventilated wig front. We store wigs here at Santa Barbara City College on a styrofoam head block so that they are clean, washed, and brushed when they're put away. That way they're ready to be tried on to someone. Now this does have a ventilated hair front, and I'll show you that so that you can see that inside you're looking at, here's the machine wig. This is a human hair wig, but this part's machined, but the last inch of it is ventilated. And you can see how finely the hair is put in place so that it is much less dense. And even when you look at this from inside, you can see that it's very transparent so that there's not a lot of hair here making an artificial look. So when you're putting on a wig, you want your wig cap secured already. And then your wig comes in from the back. It gets placed over the front. You place the front edge. Make sure the ears are in front of the ears. And then put the fingers to the back and secure the wig in back. Now you always need to have a set of pin curls or tape underneath your wig cap so that the wig cap does not move. And we can see that on our cat's site that I showed you that video of for. So this wig, I can create a part. it looks natural there. It's not a harsh thing, and I could wear this wig. So you can see because of this 1 inch, it really gives a very sheer and easy way to transition a wig. Now, of course, this isn't styled, and were I to have this in a style, I could wear that. Okay, so you can see it's fairly lightweight. You want to make sure the wig cap is very firmly on the head and that the wig itself matches the hairline as much as possible. So I can even pull this back and you see that it looks like hair is growing there. Even though that's not my color is this color. Okay. So that's the beauty of ventilating. That can happen on a synthetic wig or on a human hair wig. And the front part you'd want to sew on the hair lace just to the wig. You can actually just zigzag it on. You can probably see that zigzag. And then you would ventilate this front portion to create the transitional area. This one has a bit of lightness in it, which helps for me because I tend to have lighter hair than darker hair. So if you want somebody to be a brunette, you can still have it be a brunette and give them a little bit of lighter hair in the front. This piece could even have just been bleached out once it was on because it is the same texture as the rest of the hair instead of being woven in place or knotted onto that hair lace. All right, so those are some 3 examples of ventilated mustache and hair lace. Let's go back to our site for a moment and then we'll detail how that can happen. So that's how a wig can look more natural. And human hair wigs, although they're expensive, are very long lasting. They're easy to style and the color can be changed just like the stripe I showed you in the front of that wig. And the color itself is a blend of 3 colors minimum put together. So that is a wonderful thing to have. How do you ventilate a hairpiece or a lace fronted wig? Ventilating is a knotting technique of adding hair to a piece of almost invisible lace, as I showed you. Then the lace itself can be glued to the face. It can be attached to the wig, and it even can be beyond the hair lace. The wig can be taped to the scalp so that then the hair lace, which is very fragile, is sitting on the skin. Then it can be covered with makeup, so it's completely the color of the actor. Some tools are required. This is a ventilating needle, and you can see this is a handle. It's like a little drill where it will ratchet down and tighten on this very tiny handle. At this tip is a very small hook. So here are some examples of hooks, and you can see that it is a very tiny hook on the end, like a very small crochet hook. They're made of metal, and this shaft would then go into the metal and knurled knob here, the handle, and get tightened down. Hair lace comes in every color. It comes in a variety of weights, and it matches the skin tone of the actor, not the wig color. So there's this darker lace. I'm just trying to zoom in a little. You can see it's a more dense lace. This would work for certain kinds of hair. This is a stiff lace available in this color. This wig I just tried on had a rather stiff lace. There is a much denser colored lace, a lighter lace, almost see-through here. I'm glad I'm not the only one that misspells things. Light brown. Classic lace, and they come in different weights. So you can see that this is a heavier weight, and this might be for the head of the hair or the crown of the hair. And this is diamond shaped lace. And that's a softer lace, you can tell because it has a little bit of movement to it. This one, look how transparent it is, invisible silk. It is completely transparent on the card and over something else. So it would be invisible on the skin. and the supply is limited because it is silk. So that's a variety of hair laces, and you would have to order those in advance. They are not readily available. I have some here, which I'm going to show you in a minute. It comes in a variety of weights. Stage lace has the largest holes, is the most durable, but it is the most grotesque. So it's the most obvious lace. Opera lace is less visible, has smaller holes, and film lace is the most transparent and the most delicate, but requires the most care. So you can't just rip them on and off. You have to apply it, and it has to be very carefully applied. So you want to be careful with that. Hair is attached to the lace by a half hitch knot. So the needle is placed through the hole. It grabs 1 or 2, 3 hairs bent into a loop. It's twisted, pulled back through the hole, and then the ends of the hair is pulled through. So let's look at this really brief 3-minute video.
Hello wig stylists, and welcome to our wig ventilating tutorial. With wigs, ventilating is the process of hand tying fibers to a fine mesh or lace material to give the illusion of a natural looking hairline on a wig. This process is used to make lace front wigs. If you are not familiar with lace front wigs, please check out our lace front tutorial link below. In this video, we are going to show you how to use the ventilating technique to modify the thickness or shape of the hairline on a lace front. Our lace front wigs have a round hairline.
So this is an example of how sheer the lace front is. You can see that that's a dark tan lace front going over the face of the character. And then this is where that hairline would be drawn onto this. That blue wig before that would not have been a good example of a hair laced wig.
And the excess lace is left attached so that customers may add on to it. Once the desired shape has been ventilated, then the excess lace can be cut away. We carry 2 different sizes of ventilating needles on our website. The sizes indicate the number of hairs the hook is meant to capture. So the size 1-2 is for ventilating 1 or 2 strands at a time, and 2-3 is 2 to 3 strands. For this tutorial, we will be demonstrating with a 2-3 needle.
Okay, so you see that the needle is going into the holder. The holder is opened by screwing so that it can receive the needle, and then it will be tightened back down. Again, the 2-3 needle is up to 3 hairs at a time. So think about it. You're doing 3 hairs at a time.
Screw the top of the needle holder loose, and then retighten it after you've inserted the needle. For the fiber you ventilate, you need to make sure the length is twice as long as what you need. For example, since this is a short wig, I can use either some short wefts or just some color samples. If you are ventilating a longer wig like our Matilda, then you'll likely want to get a long weft or a long ponytail clip and cut the fibers from that instead. I'm going to remove the metal piece on top of this sample to get the most length out of it. If the top piece is too tight, then use some pliers to loosen it. We didn't do it for this tutorial, but it is recommended that you iron out the crimp before you use it. Carl will be demonstrating how to do the ventilating. Pin your wig to a wig head before you start. With a very small section of fiber looped in one hand and the needle in the other, push the end of the needle under one strand of the lace. Catch about 2 or 3 strands of your fiber onto the tiny hook and turn the needle sideways to slide it back under the lace. Let the loop fall to the base and then twist the tails around the hook. You'll want to turn the needle down before pulling the tails through the loop. This can take some dexterity and practice to get just right. Repeat this process on a new section of lace until you've got enough coverage and your desired hairline shape. Ventilating is a very time-consuming process, but the end result is the most natural-looking hairline that you could ever ask for. This process can also be used to make natural-looking facial hair pieces like mustaches. You can either use leftover lace from a lace front, or you can go out to a fabric store and search for the strongest yet finest tool you can find. Generally, stores like Joann's Fabrics carry a wide selection of colors, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find one that will work with your skin tone. You can also use tulle to make your own lace front wig from scratch on a regular wig, though starting with the lace front base will definitely save a lot of time. You can skip over to flatten or round out the shape more. If you have too many fibers, your hook will more likely try to catch onto the loop as you pull it through. If you make the hairline too round and thick, it might look a bit unnatural. So skip around or move up and down like a zigzag along your path. Thanks for watching and
Or like we did, do your plastic wrap head shape and draw your hairline on, and then you're just following your hairline. Okay. So that's a
happy ventilating.
That's a pretty clear little sample. And then I will show you what we have in terms of wigs and hair lace. We have a wide variety of hair lace, including, you know, lace that is as I said, theatrical lace, very large holes so that you can easily ventilate through those in a lighter flesh tone and a darker flesh tone. That would be for stage use for far away, because that would be less likely to be seen in a large house. And then we have a wide variety of, we have some really beautiful fine film lace where you can barely see it. And even the finest. And in the color, there you go. That's practically that is the most invisible lace you'll see. And then when you're ventilating, you're going into those teeny tiny little holes. So those are, we have some excellent pieces of this because we actually had a friend at a Harlequin costume makeup place that went out of business. And so he gave us, someone ordered all these things and didn't get them. And so we were able to purchase them for very light, very reasonable. So there's the heavier weight, the medium weight, you can see the contrast right here. And then that's super fine, lightweight. So it makes a huge difference, the material that you actually start with. Okay, so there's our 3 weights. And then let's talk about the head that was being mentioned here about the wig head. So we have right here we go. This is the lightest film lace. This would be opera lace, the cowl or the heavyweights. And you can see it against darker background. This is the beginning of a mustache. So this was traced on a plastic on someone's face, and then the hair net was used and placed on top of this. We're looking through the hairnet to the shape of the mustache, and then the mustache is being knotted in place on the hairline, and you can see how it is. This is a beginner. This is just a practice, but the color is very natural, and you're seeing probably, significant 3 to 4 hairs being knotted in at the same time. And then this could be trimmed and shaped into whatever shape is required. Clearly, it's some kind of a decurved mustache. This is a wig head, and that's why they said you can pin in. This is not a balsa head. I mean, this is a balsa head, not a styrofoam head, but you can pin your wig on here and then you can work your ventilating. So we're practicing these mustache ventilating pieces or just any hairline to practice. And you can see on this particular piece, again, this is a medium weight. And the knot itself actually makes it seem like it's a pore, and it's a bigger hole where the hair comes out, and you can see how few hairs are here, but how dark it makes the mustache look. And again, a wide variety of lighter hair colors here on this side, using that medium weight lace, which is what we would call the opera lace. And then on this poor shabby styrofoam, we have a significant ventilated piece, which could be a curl put on the side of the head and just placed into a wig. Or you could think of it as a long beard, and it could be then placed onto the face. So there's a wide variety of hair lace, a wide variety of hair. These hairs would need to have a crimp added to them to make them look like a mustache, which this is trying to be, so that because mustache hair is not limp like this, it comes out rather kinky or straight, but it's a more rigid hair. Each hair itself is thicker. The shaft of the hair is thicker than the head hair, and it tends to be on a it tends to just come out of the skin straight. So it comes out and then it curls up. So there's always a little bit of space between the edge of the hair and where it comes out of the face. So that's why you want to lift it right here. If it's just laying down, that seems very artificial, but once it's lifted up and away from the face, that's a much more natural look. Okay. So those are some great things. Here's a variety of hair, and you can see it in separate locations so that it's rather sparse. One hair every quarter of an inch. And that's probably a bit too sparse, but it does give you an opportunity to try ventilating, get the hair in there, and then have it be seen so that you know exactly what you need to do. Questions? If you are a beginner, you should plan on between 20 and 30 hours to make a simple mustache. And that would be this style. Again, you make it much longer. And you'd make it much longer than this once you get it. This is the shape that generally those 3 mustaches that I was showing you would look for. And once you get it to the general shape, then you would trim it and then try it on the actor and then trim it in place once it's glued to the actor. For temporary purposes, you can use double stick or toupee tape to hold it on just for trimming purposes. Generally, we don't recommend that for theatrical use or for film use. Film use, no, because you would see it, and theatrical use because you'd probably sweat it off. But there are a wide variety of tapes. They are double stick matte tapes. So I'm going to show you a couple of those. So if I wanted to put on a mustache temporarily to trim, I could use this double stick tape. It always has a bend so that you can peel this part off. And it has a short end here. You can see that the tape ends here. I can peel it this way first so that I now have a sticky side here. Let me get my mustache out. Actually, I think I'll cut it in half because look at how wide this is compared to my mustache. Right? That's going to show through. So I'm going to cut it in half first. And then you'll be able to see how this toupee tape or hair tape, double-sided hair tape works. You can start by just cutting it in half and making a narrower piece of tape. It is very sticky. So I'm cutting it carefully so it does not stick to my scissors. And then I'm going to stick this additional piece right back onto my guard, the back guard for my double stick tape. So I can use this piece for something else. Now I have half a stick, which is just about right to put onto my mustache. So I'm going to put it right on the mustache first. And then as it's going to hang out, I'm going to trim it. Okay, and the reason why you're seeing it is because you're seeing the white tape, remember. When you trim, you really do not want to capture the hair at all. You definitely don't want to trim that hair because then the hair will fall out of the mustache. So again, this is not a permanent solution. This is a temporary solution so that you can actually trim the mustache. Even if you get a mustache that's short like this one, you will want to not skip this step. And again, I've left my split so I can easily peel off my protective backing. And then my double stick tape is on my mustache, and now it's very, you can see it because it's reflective, but it's much less visible. Then I would center the mustache on the face right here where the dividing line, remember this is the last place where humans knit together. So you want to center it right here. There's usually a dip, and you can see a dip in this mustache. And then you want to place it between the nose and the upper lip where it would be reasonable on that actor's face. Again, this is an individual thing per person's face. So for me, I'd put it right here. I don't necessarily have a lot of room there. And then I can just place it down, checking that I am centered. And then I'll just double stick that down so that I can get a quick look at, is this mustache, I have it on even? Is it the right one for me? Is it the right one for the character? And it is secure enough so that I can try to create a handlebar by using some wax. Again, this is human. And then I would need to trim this. This is again not stuck down all the way to the edge. It would be all the way glued to here when we glue it in place for a performance or for a film. And then you would trim to expose the lip if that's a character that's very tidy. If it's not a character that's tidy, then maybe it's not so bad that the mustache would be hanging down. So, we can then have this idea of a quick look for a director to say, is this the kind of character? Now, if I put on my wig cap and I have darker hair, it's kind of an instant transformation. And I can be a a quick look pirate perhaps, or something like that. And let me get my wig cap down so we don't see it. But just getting rid of that hair then makes the mustache make a lot more sense. And I could just darken my brows by, again, this would be pencil darkening, but then everything seems more proportionate. So this idea of hair proportionate to the character, to the face, and having it match and be a complete portrait. Now that I've done the whole, thing for the pirate, the darkening the wig cap, it makes it much more sensible than if I just stick a mustache on a face like this, which then is really not appropriate because it doesn't work. It doesn't fit the character. It doesn't work for anything. Anyway, that way I can just peel this off and then peel off the tape. And that will help me know, is this mustache going to work? And it gives a very quick and fast look for a director to see if that's the kind of character if that's the kind of mustache that this character would wear. The same way with a wig, the same way with a beard. So there's all kinds. You can have a little soul patch beard. You can have any kind of thing there. So we do have ventilating needles. I'm seeing if they're in my box or they're over here. So let's take a look at that next. So we have a whole wig supply construction area. And I want to just show you this is a very small needle, so you can see it up close. You can see that tiny, tiny little hook that's on the end. It's so minute, you can't really see it. See it right there on the very tip?
Yes.
Right here. Okay, so it's very, very tiny. And let me see if I can get a bigger one for you. This is just a handle that then can unscrew and creates a receptacle for that. And you can see how this tightens down to hold the needle and opens and tightens. Let me just see if I have a larger needle that we can take a look at. That's hooked in. And I can actually hook one in. So here you go. You can see this one. Right where I don't even see it. Here we go. So this would be a 1. This would be 1 hair. When I was here years ago, we made beards for the production of Fiddler on the Roof. So this is a number 3. So this would be a one that we could pick up 3 hairs with. So I'll put this in, you'll see how it goes in. That's why they're in a baggie, because they're so small that they'll just disappear. And they're quite sharp. So I'm going to loosen this, place my needle in here, and then tighten it. Oh, that has come off. Here we go. And now my needle's in here. Oh, that's, sorry, I was painting earlier for my class, so, okay. And then I can get my wig head. Right, I'd get my wig head, hold my hair. They were holding a lot of hair in their hand, which I'm not sure that I would do that. You know, just hold a couple of hairs. And you do want to create the bend. So it would be not attached, and you'd hold the bend like this. Take your needle, grab your hair. You have to put it through the hole. Grab the hair. And this takes practice, and I haven't done it for a while. And then you can pull it back through the hole. Twist it, bring it through, twist it around, and pull it in. So it is very time consuming, but you do get better. So after you practice it, you can actually be very successful in making a hairpiece, ventilating wig front. And then again, you know, if you're working with bigger holes, it's going to be more forgiving for you. That's ventilating. I wanted to also show you about hair extensions, which I mentioned also, which is when you put a piece of hair into your actor's hair to add to it. So this happens to be a human hair switch, which would be maybe we wanted to give somebody a pony, very long ponytail. And this is fairly close to my hair. We could decide if that was going to be adequate. I'm wondering if I actually have a pony holder. I think I do over here. Just a sec. So you can create a ponytail on the actor, and if they need more hair, one thing that this does is it allows you to give some lift to the front of the hair instead of having it slicked back. We could secure the ponytail to the hairband. And then using the actor's shorter hair, wrap the hair around to create the transition between the shorter and longer hair. So then we have our beautiful I Dream of Jeannie hairdo. Okay. So that would work well. And then we, of course, would pin it in to secure it completely. Always when you're working with long hair, you want to be very careful to twist it or braid it so that it is not going to get completely unkempt and tangled. So when we put it back in, it looks like a donut. And then another thing that we can use is hair extensions. And those, as I said, are put into place to either make somebody's hair longer or someone's hair thicker. We did a show that was in the 70s and a young woman was playing the role and she really needed to have longer hair. And we used these hair extensions. Again, these are human, so they're very flexible. Just trying to see if I have the hairbrush here. Okay. Now I don't have the hairbrush. Okay. We're going to pause for a sec. When you're brushing long hair, whether it's a wig or a hair extension, you always want to secure it with your hand and start at the bottom, so that that will make the hair softer and not pull out either from the wig head, your head, or the extension. So this is a fairly generous extension. You can see that it is at least 6 inches. It's held with 4 clips. And the clips are what secure it to the hair. So this will go onto the hair, dig into the hair, and then be clipped on and be secured. One thing that's hard about this is it's blonde, but it has a black band on it. So we need to be very careful with that. It's not exactly my color, right? But we'll put it in and see what it looks like. So you want to find a place where you're going to put it in and it will seem reasonable. And you clip the hair to the side while you're doing that. And then, you know, these are fairly common to wear these days. You have your clips all open before you put it on the head, and then you join them into the head by clipping it down and clipping it in place. And then we'll continue to put this around the head so that it will be completely attached. And you can see that this is a very generous piece. It goes all the way around. And then you release the hair over. And if I had, then you would add another piece above this. All right, they come in all widths. You can have it come up here. You could have a multiple layered look. So it was a frosted look. And then we could have something much more believable by having it in and then brushing the hair in place. So you'd want to make sure you conceal the ends of the hair and have more hair down here. And that would give a longer effect. Okay. So hair extensions are something that we can use and we make them match. Again, when you're working with human, we can make human hair match the actor's head by dyeing it and bleaching it out. So that is something that we can either send the extensions with the actor to the salon, or sometimes we do them ourselves. So those are a great addition to different hair that you can use. And they're very easy to go in every single night. And in the 70s, when everyone had really long hair, it was not typical to wear a bob or a shag. And that's one thing that is really tough to work against, is when somebody has a lot of different color lengths of hair. This is a great thing to give us that one long hair look. So hair extensions, another thing to complete the look of the character. All right, any questions before we wrap it up?
Not for me.
None from you. All right.
I think that might be the whole audience in person right now.
Okay. So we will be closing off that recording.